Hi everybody, it's a tutorial. You'll have to bear with me. It's been a few months since I've made one, so let's see if I can remember how to make the tutorial, let alone how to make the project. What I've got today is, I guess you would call it an envelope, but it's got lots and lots of pockets. This one, I made a bunch, as you can see. So they're all the same, but yet they're all different. Got a pocket back here with a little scrappy notepad in it. And that goes in the back pocket. And then I've just got some random ephemera in the other pockets. But you've got a pocket here. Then you have a pocket here. You have a little tiny pocket here. And if you glued this on your journal page, if you just glued it here, here, and here, then you would have another pocket in the back. So I made a bunch of these. I'll show you what they all look like. This particular one, the pink ones like this, are made from avocado dyed paper. And these are made from adult coloring book pages that I bought. I bought the book at Goodwill, which is like a thrift store, secondhand shop that we have here in the United States. I don't know if they have them elsewhere, probably. Canada, I'm sure. Some of the pages were missing, but I thought that would be great to use in journals. This was back when I was first starting out, and I since realized not a whole lot of call for skulls and flames and things like that in the types of journals that I make, even though the pages were cool. So I'm like, I'm never going to use these, maybe one or two at Halloween, but that's it. So I'm like, well, let me see if I can figure out a way to use them. And I dyed them, avocado dyed them in a big batch that I did the first time I ever did avocado dyeing. And they turned out, let's see, you can really see, look how dark that is. I mean, it's just crazy. Usually they come out this nice light pink. Let's see, like this. This is a piece of avocado dyed paper from a different batch. As you can see the difference, obviously. Even just like that, you can see. To get it dark like that, you add baking soda to, once you boil the avocado skins in the pits for a little bit to make sure that they release all their dye and everything, put like a tablespoon or so of baking soda in it. It just turns it really dark like that. So I finally found a use for these papers, and this is what I came up with. I didn't come up with this design. I watched a video, and I can't remember the lady's name, but I will definitely link her video in the description below. The video that I watched to learn how to make these, because you might find that it's easier to learn from her tutorial or mine. I don't know. But anyway, I'll make sure and put it in there. So let's just have a quick look through the ones that I did make. I mean, they're all basically the same. They all have the scrappy notebook in the back and various ephemera. And then I just did I made these little labels with the crown. I got a crown stamp, and I did that on some scrap file folder that I had. And it just turns out it takes ink really well, the distress ink and the stamping ink. And all I did was, and I'll show you when we get into how to make this, I sewed these decorations on, and I sewed these decorations on, and then I stitched right across here. And that's what holds it together. So we've got that one, this one, just some different looks, different ideas of how you could maybe decorate them, or I mean, you can just put just whatever you happen to have in here. Like this one, nothing matches, but yet it's got the same sort of colorway going a little bit, and that's what helps tie it together. And this one, this is done on tea-dyed paper to show you the different looks that you can have. And these are all grungy. You don't have to make them grungy, but I just like the grunge. And I also have been finding that I like this better than the tea-dyed, but again, personal preference. Here's one that's got a bunch of bird stuff in it. You get the idea. Here's a mushroom one. So there you go. So those are the ones that I made. Just gonna stick them over here to the side. And I wanted to show you, before we get into that, I wanted to show you, here's some more of these scrappy notebooks that I made. Just a sample. You don't need to look at all of them. They're kind of the same in different. I just had a bunch of scraps, and then I actually had to cut a few pages because I didn't have as many scraps as I thought. But what I did is I've got them arranged by size. So let's see. Here's a scrap of avocado dyed paper, and I printed. I think this is newsprint. I think, and I printed on the front of it, and then I never used it, and then it got torn because it's kind of thin. So I had some sheets of that. So I put them through my trimmer and sliced them up. And I got about, let's see, I think 4 pieces like this for one page. So that was enough for 4 of these notebooks. Then I had some of this paper scrap and this, and here's some book page. And even though it's book page, it has some room there that you can journal on, a little bit, make a little note. And then I just folded a piece of paper over the top and stuck a little piece of material, a little piece of lace, just ran them through my sewing machine, just did a zigzag stitch, and that's it. And again, like I said, get a pocket. If it turns out that they're too tall for your pocket, which this one would be, I mean, you want it to stick up some, but, not, then you can just fold these up at the bottom individually like that. And then when you go to use them, you can just unfold them. It's no problem. So that's how these are made. I'm not going to show you how because, like I said, I sewed them and I don't have the camera over by my sewing machine yet. But you don't have to stitch them. You could always just staple them. I suppose you could glue it, but I don't know. I don't know how well that would hold up. It'd probably be fine, but definitely if you put 3 or 4 staples in there, and what you could do is staple it, get the papers together, and then fold this little piece over it and put your staples in there. And then after you get this stapled together, then you could glue a piece of lace or trim or something on top of there if you wanted to cover up your staples. But since this is grungy, obviously, I mean, look at this. There was no way I could use this anywhere else, so I'm like, all right, I'll throw it on here. So you could leave them exposed. It's personal preference. So I made a bunch of these, and you can just really start cranking these bad boys out if you just get your stuff together. I mean, look at all this. Will I ever use these? Who knows? There's so many of them. I'm sure I will eventually, but I mean, they don't have to be just used in this project. Use them for anything. Put them in a pocket in a journal like they are. Okay, so that's that. So now, this is a good project to use papers that maybe you don't like so much, or maybe you messed up, or they didn't turn out the way that you thought they were going to, because you can put that part on the inside of the pocket, and it's not going to show up so much because you're going to have it stuffed with stuff. It's a stuffing and stuffness in the stuff. Or you can put this on the back where you're going to glue it down, and you're not going to see it. Now, I coffee dyed these papers. And I was going for the grunge look, but this is a little excessive. And it's green. What had happened was, I dyed these, put them in the water to soak, and the ink ran. These are notebook filler pages, these two top ones, and the ink bled and mixed with the brown of the coffee, and so now it's a greenish color, which is cool. But I mean, I don't know. It's a little much. This one's all right, but this page is just insanity. So if you have something like this, I mean, there's you don't want to waste it. You don't want to get rid of it. But are you going to use this? I guess it just depends on your personal style, and that's where I was at with these coloring book pages. I'm just not into it. But I didn't want to get rid of them, so I dyed them and turned them into these. So I wanted to show you on this one. This is one of the first ones that I did with the stitching, and I immediately realized that I didn't want to use the black thread. But just to show you the difference between, grab one of these. These are both sewn the same way, but this is with a lighter thread, and you can barely see it. When you get up close to it, you can see it, obviously. But I wanted to save this and show you so you could see. You just stick it, if you do have a sewing machine and you want to try this, you don't have to be precise. You're just trying, the whole point of it is to look messy and grungy, so you're good there. This is perfect because you don't have to be exact and precise. But you can just sew, you can do a straight stitch, you can do a zigzag, and you sew there, and then you just do, I always did the zigzag across the bottom. To me, it just seems more sturdy. I don't know if it actually is, but in my mind, it seems like it would be. Okay, so enough with the chit chat and yakety yak. Let's get to making some pockets. So, yeah, this is a good one. So this is what just the pocket looks like. So you'll need a piece of paper, any size, but pretty sure I used 8.5 by 11 on all of these. The different size of paper will determine how big your pocket's going to be. So you take your paper and you take this corner and fold it up. Wait, let me see. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do it this way. Let's take this one apart. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. If you saw me just take that apart, you'll see how easy this is. So it goes like this. Okay, so you have your paper long way. Grab this corner and bring it up here, and you're going to make a V here. Then you twist it. You can see my V, right? And you just make it, you don't have to measure or anything like that. You just make it kind of, so it's a nice V shape. And then what I do, I just drag my finger down and then out and out, just to make that fold. And that's the hardest part, because then you take this and you fold it about halfway, a little bit more, and make sure that it's lined up with the bottom, right? Because that was what will make it straight. And just push your finger up. And then do the same thing with this, where that goes. You see how this point is? That determines where this side's going to fold. And you line it up on the bottom there, and you just fold that on up. Okay? Now, you take this, open this back up, and this is going to be your shorter piece. So you fold that one down, you take your longer piece, and you tuck it inside the shorter piece. And that is it on the pocket. This is, I don't know if you could see it very well. So let me try this one that's a little bit darker. Has a little bit darker dye on it. And we'll try it again. So you have your paper. You see this? It doesn't matter. I can use that. You're not even going to notice. So this is those pages and papers that you have that maybe something happened to it like that. It got torn or bent wrong or whatever. Perfect for this. So you have your paper. I guess that would be landscape this way, long side this way. You take this corner and bring it up to make your V. Okay, let's try that again. Bring this corner up with this one to make your V. Then you fold it. And then you bring this over a little bit more than halfway and make sure it's lined up at the bottom. And there you go. And then this one you bring over. It doesn't have to be exactly to that, but you don't want it over that because you don't want it to bend that up. If it bends it, it's not the end of the world. And then you make sure it's straight down here. And there you go. So there's your pocket. And then you just take, it doesn't really matter which side you fold first, but mine just always turn out this way. I'm sure you could make this side shorter and this side longer and tuck it in the other way if you wanted to. But then I just tuck the long side into the short side. And there you go. So if you didn't want to sew this, or if you didn't have a sewing machine, at this point, all you need to do, see this, is to just run a bead of glue right here and glue that closed, and you're done. That's your pocket and everything. Now, if you want ink on the edges, like any of these, all of these I inked all the edges. Obviously, you do that after you fold it, but before you glue it. So, because you want this to be open so you can get to all these edges with your inking. Well, let me just go ahead and grab my ink real quick. My desk is a mess. So, let me grab my ink here. So, this is how our pocket was. So, just unfold that. And I really don't need to ink that. That got pretty good with the, when I was doing the tea dyeing. So, I'm going to ink the bottom of this. And ink this. And let's see, this needs to be inked. But just this part, so I don't need to ink all the way down. Which is a good thing. It's harder to ink single sheets of paper. Sorry that that's folding up. But you get the idea. So ink, 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 ink. Oh, we gotta do this one. Ink. Okay, so that's all of that. It's all inked. And then I'm just gonna ink the sides here. And this side. And I'm going to go ahead and ink the back folds because I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to glue this down or if it's just going to be a floating pocket. And the way I look at it, if I end up gluing it down later when I go to put it in a journal and there's some ink on the back, okay, so I inked that for nothing. But you can make these ahead of time, obviously, because I did a mass make on these yesterday. So there's our pocket. Now, again, if you're not going to sew, all you have to do is just run a bead of glue right through there and let it dry, and you're done. If you want to sew it, like I did. Let me get my sample with this crazy black thread on here. So if you want to stitch it, then you're going to, if you'll see here, I've got a little X there and a little X there because I want to decorate this part and sew it. And I want to decorate this part and sew it. But you can't sew it like this. Otherwise, you're sewing your pockets together and you won't be able to, there won't be pockets. So you take this apart. But I put these little X's on here. So I know which sections that I'm going to need to sew. So, like, for instance, let me grab my my doodads here, my ephemera. I've got them all in photo albums now. So let me just grab, okay. Let's see, let me find, let's see, I guess I can show you my situation with these photo albums. I hope it's not too glaring. I didn't even think to get this out ahead of time. I'm wondering, this is all my butterflies and my flowers. I wonder if I can find, ooh, I think I want to use one of these. I love having my stuff in the photo albums because then I can look through it and see exactly what I've got. What I'm looking for is some stuff to decorate with. So I wanted to get, well, I'll use one of these. Yeah, that'll go good with the flowers. Okay. So put this out of the way. And then what I do is I keep them in the photo albums. Then when I start running low, then I know that I need to print some more, cut out some more, or whatever the case may be, depending on where I get them from. So, okay. Now, these need to be inked real quick. So let me go ahead and just ink that. And this one's a little more tricky. So, and I did cut this one out on the Cricut. But you know what I have found, and I don't know if it's just me or what, but a lot of times, especially with really intricate things, to be honest with you, I can cut them out better than the Cricut does. And I'm not saying that to brag. I like the finish on the edge better. Let's see. Do we need to? Since this is going to be folded up, let me see if I can just put this here real quick and just tone some of that white down a little bit. So there we go. So even though I did do this one on the Cricut, I will also just as readily do it by hand. And when I do it by hand, here's the scissors that I use. These babies are the best. I will link these if I can find them. I got them on Amazon. The handles are just amazing. So you don't have to deal because you need the smaller, really sharp, and these are really sharp, smaller, sharp scissors to cut the detail. But you don't have to have the little teeny tiny handles. You can have the big handle. And oh, I absolutely love these. They're so comfortable and they don't, I mean, eventually after you cut out, like I will, you cut 50 of these out at a time. Yeah, your hand's going to be sore. But these scissors will allow you to actually cut that many out at a time if you want. Instead of something like, again, these came with my Cricut. I don't think I've ever used these. But you see how small, sorry, you see how small the handles are. It's I don't know. I'm too fat fingered, heavy fisted, clumsy, whatever you want to call it, but I need something bigger so I can just, get right in there with it. But anyway, so here we go. So let's get back over here. So what I would do, grab my glue, because even though I sewed mine, stitched it, what I also do is get this off here. I will glue it down, even if it's just like a little dab of glue to hold it in place till I can get over to the sewing machine. So let me see now. Let me get my folds back up so I can see where. Okay. So I would want this here, right? And then you got to have this over here. You also want decorated. Um, you don't have to cut that off, but I will be cutting it off after I get done sewing it. Assuming that I'm going to sew it. I don't think I'm going to sew this one. I'm just going to go ahead and just glue it. But that's what you do. If you wanted to stitch it, you just put your X right here because you know you want to decorate that little piece, that triangle, and the X on this because you want to decorate this one. And then you would just take this over to your sewing machine. Oh my goodness, with this, okay, here we go. Take this over to the sewing machine and unfold it all the way, right? Then you've got these two things, and then you would just do your stitching. And then when you're done doing that, fold it up how you want it. Again, pretend that I trimmed that off before I attempted this, which I didn't. Just trim this off real quick. It's going to make it easier to fold into here. Okay. You fold it up like this, right? Then you do your stitch across the bottom. And that's it. Now, if you didn't want to sew these panels, you could just go over there and run a zigzag or straight stitch, whatever stitch you want. Just run it right across the bottom. Because once you glue that bottom, all of these pockets are then, they're dealt with. So let me go ahead, let me get my longer scissors out for this and trim this off. Just because it's going to annoy me if I don't do it immediately. Okay. Rid of that. Put these back. Okay, so hopefully you got that. You might have to rewind it and watch again, but I think I went through it enough times that you understand how to fold this pocket. It's actually a pretty basic pocket, a beginner's pocket, and I would ideally put more stuff on this, not just this. Let's see if I can get it off, because I need to put some, oh, did I get lucky? I think I tore it, but you're not going to be able to tell because I'll glue it back on there. I did tear it. It's okay. Yeah, that'll be fine. I'll fix it. I want to put something else underneath here. Even if it's just a little bit of book page. Let me grab some real quick. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So how is everybody today? Hopefully you're doing well. I'm doing much better. Here's a piece of book page. I wasn't doing the best there for a while. Had some health issues, but maybe book page wasn't the best. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm finished tearing this. I'm gonna get this done regardless. Let me grab some ink here. But yeah, I had a couple health problems. Because I'm an idiot. And, well, I wouldn't say an idiot. But yeah, I was. I've since wisened up and I quit smoking. But yeah, I was having some lung issues because of my smoking. And I'm going on 4 months now, I think. I need something now. I need something in between this and this. So, yeah, a little over 4 months or coming up on 4 months since I've had a cigarette. And I'm quite proud of myself for that. But I just wish that I would have done it before I got ill, of course. Now, what can we put on here? Just grabbed some random scraps out of my scrap thing. Will any of these work? That won't work. No. No. I don't know. I don't like this. I guess this will work. It's just an example, Christine. You don't have to, it's fine. Okay. All right. Fine. Should I have been more prepared for this? Could I have been more prepared for this? And the answer is yes to both of those. But I'll get something together. This isn't even the right colorways or anything. I tell you what, and this is a look into the life. What goes on in my mind? I think that's going to be okay. I just need to tear this off a little bit. Put this on here. Get my glue again. Oh, wait a minute. Forgot about these dots. Oh, but the dots don't really go with the fairy. Does this goes a little bit better. All right, fine. Okay. Let's see. I think will that work? Yeah. And then let's put this glue. Now I do have to be careful when I glue this on there because I don't want to glue it and then have it. I don't want to glue around that hole, so I'm going to do this because I don't want the glue to go in the hole and glue all this together. So let's try this and see if it works. Hopefully it will. Good gravy. Okay. Crisis averted. And most of my crises are of my own doing. So how does that work? Is that okay? Cool. And go ahead and glue this down here. Boy, I tell you. So we're gonna put just a bead of glue. Have to be any. It doesn't have to be as complicated as hard as I'm making it look. It really does not. And the deal, since we're talking about complicated and difficult unnecessarily, I'm so hard on my glue and the pins that go in my glue, and I'll get them halfway in there, and I mean usually it's because I'm not paying attention, and they'll bend, a few times, but then eventually they'll bend and they break. So I kept breaking a piece off, and it got to where it was probably about this big. I'm like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. And it had I had the whole dangle thing going with the beads, and it was really pretty, and I liked it and everything, but it was more of a nuisance than anything. So I went to a pin, a sewing pin, a stainless steel sewing pin. And I can also link those on Amazon at the bottom. So that's 3 things I have to link now because you don't want it to rust. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But then I kept losing the pin, even though it's got this little ball on the end of it, which is cool, but still, I kept losing it. And I thought, I'm going to drop this on the floor and step on it or whatever. So I just happened to have this piece of ribbon on my desk. I grabbed it, folded it in half, put a little bit of glue on it, stuck the pin through it. And I've been using this ever since. Now, if I could just get my cataracts operated on to where I could see what I was doing when I went and stuck the pin in. But yeah, it's bright red. Can't miss it. Can't lose it. And believe me, I try. But so that's the story behind that. Okay, I think this is dry enough now. Let's see. It is. It is dry. And that's why I love art glitter glue, because once it's dry, and it dries pretty quickly. Just get back in there. Why didn't you get attached with the other? Oh, I see. Thank God. Again, it's my fault. Nobody else's. Okay. Make sure you glue all the way across when you glue. Yep. So, now we get to fill this baby up. Got it glued, inked. We're ready to go. So let me get rid of these scraps. Well, I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm just going to move them out of the way. And let's see. You bring my other ephemera. That's people. Yeah, this might work. Okay. Now, this is ugly. It's green. It's not real, but I think it's supposed to be like a faux alligator. But it was $9, so I got it, and look how huge it is. Excuse me. So I use it for what else? Ephemeral. So here's all my people, which I'm not looking for people, and I was just gonna have each one devoted like this one to all people, you know, people, but it didn't work out because I forgot about my fairies. I could have used these anyway. These I did these by hand. Let me move this because I'm sure it's glaring on the camera. All of these I did one night and then into the next morning by hand because I didn't have anything else to do, and I've been sort of limited on my mobility with being on oxygen and all of these different machines that I have. I have them here at home, thank goodness. But and I do have portable oxygen, and I don't have to be on it all the time now. But at the time when I did these, I did, and so I just would sit and cut these out. Yeah. So anyway, get back here. Okay, this is all. Luckily, then I had to put some of my butterflies and flowers in this one because I just ran out of room. Now we're getting into what I'm looking for, which is some ephemera like this little butterfly page and what else? Here we go. I don't usually put big pieces like this in here, but it's in here, so I'm definitely going to take it out. And let's see, here's one. And what the heck? We'll use this little cigarette card. They, years ago, they would try to get you to collect stuff, with the things that you bought, whether it was pillowcases or coffee cups or dishes or whatever, they would put these cards in the cigarette packs, and I think they did them in 3 or 4 different products, and you would collect the cards. I mean, it was all a marketing thing, but turns out that we got these pretty cards. I don't know where this one came from, or I don't even know if it's vintage. It doesn't really look like it is because it's awful. Anyway, uh, maybe this was just printed out on some photo paper. I don't know. I didn't print it. I don't know where it came from, but anyway, it is a thing. Even if might not be one, they're cigarette cards, and they're of this size and shape. And I think they also put them in like with tea bags and just whatever there was a staple that people would buy uh, to make them buy their brand over another brand, or um, so they would keep buying it and to get the collection. And they still do that sometimes with stuff today in different ways. So let me just ink these up real quick. And all you do is just whatever you are wanting to put in your pockets of this. Is it an envelope? I don't know. Is it just a group of pockets? I mean, I wouldn't even know what to call it. It's a bunch of pockets in one. I love this little card. I found it the other day. Excuse me, with this frog in my throat. Oh, the little card. We missed you from Sunday school last Sunday. Don't let that happen again. We'll expect you next Sunday, sure. So, yeah, they weren't messing around back in the day. And again, I'm not sure where I got this. I must have got it in some Happy Meal. And this is gingerbread and gingerbread. It's a recipe. Huh. I wonder if it's legit. I wonder if it's a legit recipe. I might be hanging on to this. That's cute. And it's a little grocery receipt. Oh, I don't know. The way that ink is on there. It's not printed off. It must be a piece of ephemera. Bought ephemera. But anyway, it's darling. So, let me grab one of my notebook things here. Do I want, let's see, I've got several different ones here. I've got pink, then I've got the blue. Oh, I think I'm going to do the blue. It'll tie in with that blue down there. And then I've got just the plain. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just pick one. How's that? So, let me see here. This is going to be, is it going to be too tall? Slightly. Okay. So, definitely going to have to fold this up. And going to have to fold this up. But, and this a little bit, I think. See, there, you've got them like that. So then they'll fit in here, but you didn't have to tear them off or anything like that. They're still there. You can use them. And then we do the next size, which would be that. And then we've got this pocket. We can fit two things in there. Let's see. No, I think we'll do it this way. Yep. And then this for the little pocket in front. It's a picture of what, some cliffs and the ocean or something. Anyway, you could even do it that way, I suppose, but we'll do it this way. So there you go. And let's see, let me grab one of these. Here's one that I made, and there's the one that we just made together. You know, flip that up a little bit if you wanted that to hang over. Just any little thing, and you could pull this up more, and you can put different stuff in there that might actually go together and match. What an idea. Let me get rid of this glare for a second from that light. But there we go. And like I say, if you wanted, you could either decorate this or, you know, if you knew for a fact that you just wanted this to be a floating pocket inside a journal and maybe you just wanted to clip it in, you could even sew a little pocket or glue a little pocket on the back of the pocket if you want. But anyway, there you go. Don't forget to check for the description. I will have those links I talked about, where you can get the scissors, the link for the tutorial that I watched to learn how to make these, and what else was I going to link for you, because yeah, I've already forgotten the scissors. The pins that go in your glue, the stainless pins that won't rust, because sometimes, even though they say they're stainless, they're not. And this bunch that I got really did not rust. So I will be sure and put those 3 links down there for you. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm really trying to get subscribers. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps me, because once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can do live videos, and I think that's when I can start earning some money on the videos that I make, and I think it's only a few cents, but I need some sense, some common sense. But anyway, the benefits to you are more than the benefits to me. If you subscribe, then you're automatically notified every time I put out a video, which your notifications would have been going dry the past few months, but I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment if there's something that you want me to do, or something that I'm doing that you want me to stop. We'll see how any of that works out for you. But seriously, just give me a little comment down there and let me know what's going on with you and what you'd like to see from me in the future. So I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day. Bye-bye.